Now, is your car running rough or maybe misfiring? Well, it might be time to change your spark plugs. Well, in just a few minutes, Carlos from UNOH will show us how to change our plugs. Now, what are we going to need, bud?
So to start off, please check your owner's manual to see how many spark plugs you may need, as well to check your spark plug gap and torque specifications for the spark plugs. And then you're going to need a little bit of NICs, a socket set to remove the components surrounding the engine. You're going to need a ratchet, a swivel socket as well to reach hard areas, a spark plug socket with a rubber boot to avoid any damage, a blowgun or a compressed can of air to remove any debris on the engine and avoid debris going inside the engine. So to start off, we're going to have to remove the top plastic cover, but as you can see, the spark plugs are hitting. And many vehicles have the spark plugs right on top, but we're going to go over a vehicle that's a little bit more complicated. So we're going to need to remove the top plastic cover, the air filter, and the upper intake plenum. So now that we have the upper intake plenum off, we can now cover the intake ports to avoid any debris going inside. With the paper towels inside, fold them up, and just shove them in there. And then just to make sure, we're just going to cover it with some pig mat. We are now ready to blow the engine off to avoid any debris going inside the intake ports and causing any damage in the future. So the next step would be removing the coil on plug. And as you can see, we have a 10mm bolt right here holding it and an electrical connection right here. So we're going to want to disconnect that. Now we are going to want to inspect the coil and see if there's any corrosion or tears inside the boot. So now that we got the coil plug out, we are ready to take out the spark plug. So you will need to grab your ratchet and your spark plug socket with the rubber boot inside. You're going to want to inspect your spark plug to see the condition of it. If there's any oil on it, that means you have a leaking gasket on the intake, and you want to take care of that. So now we are going to check our spark plug gap, and we will use our spark plug gapper tool that you could get from any auto parts store. And this specific vehicle calls for 43 thousandths gap. We will look for a gap. You don't want too much resistance. Before we put the spark plug in, you want to put a small dab of anti-seize. Be careful to not collide the spark plug with the wall to avoid any damage. And you want to start it off by hand to avoid any cross-threading. As soon as you start feeling resistance, stop, and now you know it's time for the torque wrench. This specific vehicle calls for 13 foot-pounds. Now it's time to put the coil plug back on. You want to make sure the bolt lines up with the valve cover. After you guys have the bolt finger tight, put the electrical connection back in. Now that you have everything tightened by hand, you're going to want to torque it to spec. Now that you have completed the first spark plug, we are ready to do the remaining 5. Now that you have done all 6 spark plugs, you're ready to put everything back together and hit the road. And when you hit the road, you want to make sure the vehicle is not misfiring. And if it's not misfiring, you know you did a great job.